This is a short video on adding and subtracting like terms. Before we start doing the adding and subtracting though, we should stop and have a look at what like terms actually are. Now in the questions here, if we look at number 1 on the left hand side, we've got 3a, 2ab and 4a. Those coefficients, the numbers 3, 2 and 4, don't matter. We're interested in the pronumerals and we're looking for the amount of multiplied pronumerals and the type they are to be exactly the same. So in the first one, 3a and 4a are exactly the same, but this one with an a and a b is not a like term. These ones are. If we go to the next one, everything has m's, but this one has m squared, which means m times by m. This one also has m squared, which means m times by m. The amount of multiplied pronumerals here of the same kind is exactly the same, whereas this one doesn't fit. So our like terms are these two. Looking at the last one, it's a little trickier, but if we just pay attention to the indices and which letter they're on, we'll get there. I've got an m and an n squared here. I've got an m squared and an n here. That's not the same. The m here is not squared, the m here is squared. When I come over to the last term, the n and the m are not the same way around as before, but that's not actually a problem, because you might have heard multiplication is commutative. For instance, 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2. So it doesn't matter that they're the wrong way around. What does matter is that the m is squared here and that the m is squared here. We've got an n to the power of 1 just there and an n to the power of 1 just there. So these are like terms. Now that we've got that straight, we should quickly go over and have a look at these questions. Well, we can add like terms together, but we can't add things that are not like terms. So, if I've got 6x plus 2x, that is 8x. This is 6 times x, or 6 lots of x. This is 2 lots of x. When we put it together, there are 8 lots of x. But we can't add the y to it. Some people are inclined to put these together and say, oh, 8 plus 3 is 11, and just write xy together. We should remember that 11xy means 11 times by x times by y. And there is nothing here to suggest that we'd be multiplying an x and a y together. We simply have to keep them apart. They stay like that, and 11xy has nothing to do with it. Next question. 3m. Now here's a trick. The 3m here belongs with the 5m there, but notice as I underlined that, I very deliberately underlined the minus sign in front of the 5 as well. It is very important with terms in algebra to remember that any sign belongs with the term it's in front of. So this 3m at the front actually has its own positive there that we don't bother writing. We'd only write the sign at the front if it was a negative. But that invisible positive sign was sitting there. So what we've got is 3m minus 5m. That's minus 2m. Now I've got a negative 2n here plus 7m. We're starting at negative 2, moving up. We get to 5n in the positive. Last one here, spot the like terms. X squared here and x squared here, y and y, that's 7 minus 3 is equal to 4x squared y. This is not a like term, so it just stays as it is on the end.